Welcome to the Mentor Studio, where today's thought leaders and leading entrepreneurs inspire and bring real-world ideas that help you take your career to levels you've only dreamed of. Now buckle in. Here's your host, Michael Silvers.
Hi, everyone. Wanted to welcome you to the Mentor Studio. So excited tonight. We have Steven Machat on again. He's amazing. It was an amazing call last time. He's going to just empower us to really move forward in our lives as we do. We've got a great call at the Vertical Live. If you want to know more about us, you can just go to thementorstudio.com. You can take a look for the podcast there. You can actually get into the graduated level for the show notes. And again, we'll have more and more mentors coming on. We have mentoring calls that are going to just continue on. Now, you might be hearing the show in 3 months from now, but just know you can go back at that level and you can take a listen to one of the gentlemen who started a huge financial company, and he'll tell you what to do, and actually you'll be able to have a place to leave questions. We're going to work with the gentleman who really ran some of the big Hollywood productions and still has one of the longest running shows in Hollywood. And also we're going to be talking really LinkedIn and making sure you're dialed in from a social media standpoint with a gentleman whose podcast also reaches about 700,000 people. So many, many more shows to come. They're all lined up. We pretty much got the year rocked on, but I don't always guarantee that they're going to be on because, you know, when you have a live audience, things change. And I want to make sure as your podcasters listening to this in the Vertical Live that you get the best of the best and that not every show, again, is going to be on the podcast. So again, we want you to join us at the Mentor Studio, and we'll tell you how to do that in just the next couple of weeks, how that goes. So with that being said, podcasters, you're amazing. Sit down and listen. I want to introduce Steve. They know who you are. They know what you're about. They can now see you. So Steve, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. You know, I've been traveling on the days of the week. We've been going through, today's Wednesday? So that's the day of Mercury. Tomorrow's Jupiter. Thursday, then Friday you got Venus. Saturday you have Saturn. Sunday you've got the Sun. Monday you've got the Moon. And Tuesday you've got Mars. Why did I tell that to you? Those 7 planets, those 7 wanderers, that's what planet means. And including the star, that's the energy that creates all of us. The energy called the sun, the moon, the energy where we sit and we lament. Tuesday being the enemy, physical possession, the iron. Wednesday's the message. What's the message? Thursday's Jupiter. It's the knowledge. Whose knowledge? Friday's desire and love. And Saturday's wisdom. That's the ticket. You need to learn all 8 things. And here the arts and sciences, and that's what, Michael, they don't teach you at school. They teach you to shut up and behave. Go make money. Get in the debt. Let us own you. Let us control you. Don't sit there writing what the heart tells you to do, but we can use for commercials to make people go buy and buy more. It's insane.
Oh, I know.
You sit there and like, God is love and love is God, but to teach you God has a face? God's got no face. We're God's. Yeah. But anyway, I'm here to answer.
Yeah, and the great thing too, I was talking to Steve earlier, and we talked a little bit about this last week, and obviously you have a very heavy background in music. And I know what you're doing now. We talk about really vibration. But if you can talk about a little bit about that, about really the vibration of music and how it sort of changes your soul, even some of the bands you worked with, and what it meant from you from a learning perspective, a business perspective, and really a vibration perspective. Anybody in particular?
What I'm telling you is the following. So I've got this movie, right? And I'm trying to figure out, how can I give you the vibration of death? How do we live in a world that says we believe in God and we go kill each other? So there's another part of the world called plants. We see and we don't understand that plants have vibrations. So someone I've worked with who was close to me has a machine there where you can pick up the vibrations of plants. So these plants give off vibrations, but you're not allowed to know that because we're supposed to be the supreme beings, but we're not. We're just partners here in a dimension called Earth. So we mic the plants, and the plants watch the movie. In this movie, it's a movie about a battle where almost 2 million people died. And what I've done is the plants ended up being my instruments that scored the movie for me. We took their vibrations, which are lower than ours. We have 7 vibrations. We call them musical notes. It's A through G. And each note has 7 vibrations between each note. So we live on 49 vibrations. Some of us, when you see a dog, watch your dog. Your dog hears things you don't hear because they can hear lower. So anyway, we mic the plants, and I'm making an album of plant music for the soundtrack to my movie.
Talk a little bit about the movie and a little bit, from the business perspective, how it came together and amazing invite you just got.
Well, the movie came together. The people in Russia were doing another movie, and they went through the KGB files. And when they were in the KGB files, there was hidden knowledge of how Russia won a battle called Stalingrad. In the battle, the Siberians were not part of the Russian army. But Russia was about to lose the war to the Nazis. So what happened is the people of Siberia, both men and women, came and joined the battle without weapons and just took out the German army. And the Russians gave up a lot of lives to just stop the Germans. Because if the Germans had broken through Stalingrad, what would have happened was they would have had all the energy, the oil, and all the energy from Central Asia, what we call Central Asia. So that movie saved the world basically from a Nazi hurricane. A hurricane being people like you and me all of a sudden became Nazis and they started killing each other. Where did this vibration of hate come from? And then when the war ends, everyone blames Hitler for doing it. But Hitler didn't do it, they did it. It's really interesting. So I get into the philosophical reasons of why we hate each other and why we kill each other. So that's the movie. It's a true story and it will be out. I've been invited to showcase it for the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, May. So I'll be there, according to the invite, with Putin, Trump, and Xi from China. The three world leaders came out of World War II.
That's right. And I hope to, again, it's really about really showing the background, but it's the vibration at creating peace too, and really creating that movement of how can we do better and how can we be better every day. It's really when we take a look at how we mentor each other and what that mentoring is, it creates a vibration even when you mentor people, right? When you develop teams and when you build something and you create that mentorship of how we do better, what we can do, and we create this lasting vibration that it's like when you find somebody you want to work with and you're not sure why, right, Steve? You just know there's something there. There's something underlying. The soul's touch, the vibration meets whatever it is. And so you never know when you create, like when you create that movie, what it's going to create in the world, what the difference will be, with the plant-based music and with a lot of the acts that you worked with, right? They changed the world.
And today, there's not an act that will change anything other than take the change from your pocket. I'm really disappointed with what my generation did to the world. It's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, but I look at every day there's something, right? We're all doing the best we can every day. And I think every day there's leaders and there's people within every generation that stood up. And obviously there's some that didn't make it through. And I just, it's like the goodness of man, the forgiveness and love. And, as we move forward.
That's where we should be going. But we live in a world based on debt. And I feel bad for everyone listening to this, that my generation gave kids a 20% interest rate. That's screwed up, Michael. When I was a boy, 6%, that was it. 12% you went to jail. It was called usury.
Usury, yeah. Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I know. And at the same time, there are still things, part of who you are and part of why you are today and what you created. And, when I look at your background is because of the things you did, is because of the experiences you had, good, bad, right, or left. Right, Steve? So we are a culmination of everything that we've ever known, been, or what we do today. And,
every step you take is a step where you gain more knowledge and awareness.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Wisdom.
That's right. But again, if you take a look at, because you could be very cynical, right? You could be absolutely very cynical in today's world. And especially for some people, entrepreneurs now, the one thing that they're having some trouble with is where is the world really going? And if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, can I truly make a difference? So please enlighten them that they can make a difference and that being an entrepreneur, you actually can drive and help the world economy. And, it doesn't mean you have to be Mr. Positive all the time. During any of your past background, when you had those dark day, how did you come out on the other side?
Love of people. I love people. I can walk outside and I just love people. I look at them and I feel bad when they start crying, when they don't have. We live in a world right now where, Michael, I can't believe that we have not broken up Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google. Those are monopolies. We live in a world where we are now run and controlled by monopolies. We're told that this is the program, this is all you can do. I'm telling you straight up, it needs to stop. We're living in a world where Joe Biden, who definitely has dementia, is now the head of the Democratic nomination to go become our president. And I don't want to get political. This isn't political. This is truth. What are we doing to our nation? Why don't we have health care? You're sitting here with a virus that they're telling you is contagious, but everyone listening on the phone needs to cough up money to go get a test and then buy the medicine. And at the same time, you're living in a world where we poison the water, we poison the air, and we feed people food in America that's from Monsanto or genetically modified food. We're not supposed to eat that food. There's bacteria in that food that catch. And China is one of the biggest users of GMOs. Where did this bacteria come from? What's going on here? What are they hiding? What do they know? We don't know.
And so, again, if you take a look at really where we are and you take a look at the things that it's what you know that you need to know that you don't know. With what we don't know, again, living our lives every day. And I don't think we're just spinning wheels. I think there's a lot of us out here are creating a movement of health and peace and love and working hard to create a better environment. And I know sometimes it does, right, Steve? It feels like an uphill battle. At the same time, nothing is easy. It's not about easy. So again, if you were to really take a look at the entrepreneur today, the person who's like, and it's not only about me making money because it's me about creating a legacy and leaving a business. What are some suggestions you would give to them to get through the dark days where they think it's all just doom and gloom?
All right. Remember, everything grows from rain. Rain rhymes with pain. No pain, no gain. You will not have every day be sunshine because if there's sunshine, you end up burning yourself out. You need days and you need nights. Days divide the night, night divides the day. It's really simple. You need to reflect. That's where the moon comes in. Monday, you need to reflect. You need to lament. But at the same time, you need to put together a team that has the energy, that has the common vision, where you go out to win. Like when we had bands in the 70s and 80s, our bands, we went on the road and we went to go win. We went to go basically enlighten people. What was called progressive music, be it Genesis, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, ELO, even Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This was enlightened music. We wanted to share the knowledge that was not taught to you or given to you. And then all of a sudden it became, they call it classic rock. Classic rock is nonsense. That's called paid for rock. And I was one of the biggest perpetuators of it. I had all those bands. And, I just, all of a sudden, we lost our souls and we just became a new commercial, which is okay. But there was nothing enlightening listening to Tainted Love. I mean, that was about love. That was a huge song. Or Come On Eileen. Or John Wade, I Ain't Missing You. Or Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown, we wrote that song in my house. My prerogative. Beetlejuice Ain't My Thing. What happened was I went to see Beetlejuice and I left him alone in my house. And I left him on the phone with Ted Riley. And he wouldn't come with me. He says, I ain't watching Beatles. I'm like, why not? And that's where the lyrics came, It Ain't My Thing. I can give these stories nonstop. The New Edition, Seal, Ledemsky, the Brand New Heavy. You put together, you have a team you dream. Ozzy Osbourne, that whole thing I did. Sharon Osbourne didn't do that. She married Ozzy to get even with her father. These are all stories that are in my book, God's Gangsters in Honor. What happened is I woke up one day, I'm like, I'm making celebrities so I could feed off them. That's what goes on. I don't want to feed off people. I want people to understand. If the New Edition could have a hit record, so could every single one of you listening to this talk right now. How do you do it? Here's how you do it, my friends. You put together a team that will help you have your dream. What's your dream? And then, they're telling you the new way, social media. There's nothing new about that. It's a different messaging system But you need social media. You need people to become attracted to your dream. And when they become attracted to your dream, you have two things to do. You could put them in bonds and create a new matrix, or you could take away the matrix and make it where everyone understands they're special, unique, and extraordinary. No one is better than anyone. We're all from the same creative force. We're all energy. And you don't die. You lose your body, you go back to earth. The body goes back to earth, but you sit there. And then you have a choice where to go. We are dimensionals. We're more than one-dimensional characters. We're energy. Energy never dies. And that's the truth.
Actually, that was actually brilliant. And I agree with that 100%. And it's interesting because, again, right, why some make it, why don't? It is really that dream. Is there one example you could give? Because I think that's one thing entrepreneurs really run into a problem with is how to keep that dream alive or how to build that dream. Just one of the bands that we would know or somebody we would know. So there's a relationship to a song and really how you created the dream or visualized the dream or had them visualize the dream and they made a difference. Is there any story around that you can relate us and so we could really lock into how I personally can create a dream with a team?
Because each dream's different. Well, I can give you an example.
Yeah, example. Right? Perfect.
1978, Steve Biko is dead. This song changed my life. Steve Biko died in September of 77, right? Who's Steve Biko? Well, Steve Biko was the black that they killed in South Africa. And Nelson Mandela, I have a different problem. Because when you study truth, Nelson Mandela, what he did was he took over a country and instead of putting the bankers that enslaved the country into jail, he gave them lifetime jobs and he put the country in bigger debt than they ever were because he didn't understand. They separated politics from economics, but you can't do that. Every breath you take is related to your life. It's not the way they teach us. It's not. You have to understand. You're living in a sundial of energy. You need to live on Earth. You need to understand darkness and you need to understand light. And darkness always, if you turn on the light, you get it, right?
That's right.
Because light will always come through. And you need to understand when you stand in the center of the light, you have no shadows. You can't hide. You can't hide what you do. You need to learn how to tell the truth. So anyway, Steve Biko dies in 77. Peter Gabriel's new album comes out. It's done. And he's on Atlantic Records, right? So I bring the record in and I play it for about 85 people. So the whole company's listening to the new Peter Gabriel record. And at the same time, I'm working with a band called Chic, which broke up. There were three people. I had the third. And I'm working with an artist named Cerrone. Why are they relevant? Because they were dance artists. Peter was not a dance artist. Peter was a thought artist. So what happened was all these people are in Atlantic and they're looking at me like, we can't market that song. I go, why can't you market that song? Well, it's not like everything else. I said, that's why you can market this song. This song makes you think, makes you feel. It doesn't let you just go into ecstasy where you're high as a kite, you're dancing away your night. And what happened was they refused the record. So I didn't know what to do. So I said to them, all right, you refused the record. Give me back the contract. And they look at me and they go, what? I said, we're not changing. This is what Peter wants to communicate, and this is what we're going to do. And so we got into it. And Ahmet Ertegun, who I did love, I mean, he was a clever man, and he ran Atlantic. He created Atlantic. I said, Ahmet, you of all people, and I knew him because of my father. So my father, for those who don't know, was one of the first music lawyers going way back into the 50s. And he had all the bands. Dad was the lawyer. He ended up with the Beatles. He had the Rolling Stones. He had Dave Clark 5. He had Sam Cooke, James Brown. It's in my book, God's Gangsters and Honor. And what I did is I used musicians to help wake me up to truth, why we do the things we do, which is my new book, Colonizing Earth. I tell you who made our matrix. I tell you, here's how it happened. And it took me 50 years to put that together. So my whole life, and I did it through song and dance. So what happened was I got the contract back from Peter Gabriel. I made a one-off deal with a company called Polygram. because they wanted to prove that they were into intellectual artists. And then what I did is I sold that album, and you're talking about being an entrepreneur. I sold it to Virgin in the UK. I sold it to Polygram outside the UK in the other territories, not called the United States and Canada. And I gave it to Geffen Records for the United States and Canada. So we had 3 shots at the apple. And this was different when, like, if you go to Spotify, everyone in the world can hear the same songs.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, we actually had borders. Only your radio station had to be only licensed in that one territory. So today it's easier to spread an idea. It's easier to contain an idea by shutting down the borders or opening up the borders and sharing an idea. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens, because this is the age of Aquarius and information can't be hidden. And we're going to learn a lot of truths real soon.
And I think, by the way, Biko's one of my all-time favorite, and the song still moves my soul. I got to say, when I first heard Peter Gabriel was one of my favorites forever, but when I first heard that, I went, all right, that's a soul-moving song. There's the vibration in it, the rhythm, the just everything about it.
You just made me think of something. I've discovered now more than ever that human beings have a bass and a drum. The plants have the wind. So I've discovered the difference between wind instruments and bass and drum. It's fascinating. And this is the world we live in. I love it when people tell me they're vegetarians and they don't eat meat because they don't want to kill life. A plant's alive. You can't live life unless you understand you're going to take other lives to live your life. You can't do it. That's the truth about physical life. You need to understand that it's all part of a process and it's a circle. Because at the end of our physical lives, our body goes back to earth and we become earth. We become worm food. The worms eat us. That's truth.
Right. And that's I think it is. We are part of the whole. We have a tendency of wanting to separate ourselves, and we are no more or less than anybody else, right? We're all heading the same direction. We're going to go back and feed the worms, as you said. I love it. It's true. And that's a big piece that we all have to know, is we are really responsible for who we are at the moment and what we create around us. Which is why we talk about volunteering all the time, doing more for others, giving more for others. Everything I create, there's always that giving component, not because it looks good, because it's important for everything that we do.
You have to understand, when you live on earth, you live by the rules of your heart. Your heart takes in oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. It's called giving and taking. That's what life's all about. You give and you take. You give and you take. When you learn to give and take, you're living in the rhythm of the life. So if someone that gives everything, there's something wrong with them. Someone that takes everything, you're going to fall on your ass. If you give everything, you're going to fall on your face. You need to be balanced. You need to give and to take. Give and take. To live a balanced life, night and day, male and female. It's right there. Anyway, I had to throw that in.
No, that's great. No, I love it. So and again, people, you don't have to create questions around this. For those of you who are part of the Mentor Studio, once that opens up, you'll obviously have a place to add questions in, and we'll have, chat boxes for previous podcasts and for vertical live calls, so you can actually be part of it. But again, if you have any questions right now, you can go ahead and type them in. We won't open up live yet for a little bit. You don't have to. That's not what this is about. But that would be great if you have any questions to type it in. Anything come up for you, any suggestions, comments, or you want to know a little bit more about Steve's stories, because he's got amazing stories, just let us know as you type. Steve, as you talk about us truly going back to really, we all have our roots, right? We all came from somewhere. We all have this tendency of moving somewhere. You're a people person. So you're an extrovert and a people person. You just like people. But if you go back to time in your life, way back, not in the last even, in the first 20 years of your life, and there's always roadblocks. There's things that block us. We're younger. You had a different mindset. Was there anything that really, in a way, you felt stopped you moving forward? You looked at it, you felt it, you overcame it, and you then moved forward. And how'd you do that?
My father threw me in the fray real quickly. I used to be the bicyclist that would run with a boxer named Sugar Ray Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I was never intimidated by what anyone said they were or what we believed they were. I learned at a very young age, we're all here to help each other. So even like your 3-year-old son's there to help you because that 3-year-old son, 3-year-old daughter, they're going to teach you what love is. Love is sacrifice. Love is sharing and giving. And when you learn those truths, don't be intimidated by anyone. Because when you see someone that emotionally you don't feel their energy, my advice to you is get out. When you see someone that you would never eat with, why would you do business with them?
Right.
Because they take from you. You have an inner knowledge that tells you exactly who you can mesh with, who you can join your forces. You can tell. You
Yep.
can tell in a heartbeat. So anyway, no, I was never shy and I always had a big mouth.
I sort of thought that, but that's okay. Don't want to assume anything. Oh, by the way, there was a question, Steve, because Andrew wanted to know, again, can you slowly give the exact title of the book and a little bit of a description of the cover so they can order online and a little bit about the book itself? I'm going to add that in.
Okay. The book is called The Colonization of Earth, The Making of Mankind. Okay? What it is there's scriptures all over Earth that tell you how our Earth was created and how mankind became what we are. It's hidden in plain view. No one's ever had the nerve to marry it to the creator of all. And in this book, it took me my whole life to write it. And because it's hard to really understand, I wrote it as a rock and roll op. It's a play. I'm the MC, and I introduce you to the aliens that landed on Earth, and I tell you why they came to Earth. They came to get the gold. Everyone sits there, and everyone wants gold. But did anyone ever ask themselves, why gold? What are you going to do with the gold? You can't eat it. You can't reproduce with it. You can't even sleep on it, let alone carry it. It glitters. Everything that glitters is not gold, right? And it's like, why gold? I tell you why gold. I give you all the answers. And it took me my whole life to write this. And here's where I was blessed. I've made music in over 100 nations. I've represented the top artists in their time and space when I met them all over the world. I've had the top artists in Africa, top artists in Brazil, the top artists all over. It's a blessing. I had it in Norway. I had it everywhere. And even Russia. I mean, all over England, all over the United States, all over Canada. I feel so blessed because everyone taught me something. We're all from the same source. And I wanted to know who divided us. When did this all happen? Why do we not understand that each of us is special, unique, and extraordinary individuals from a common goal? Right? I mean, I've lived this life, and this book gives you the answers. It's written in 7 acts, and I conclude it with my thoughts. Now, I'm going to be lecturing at the Comic-Con conventions because in another life of mine, I worked with Stan Lee. We had a company together. It was called Stan Lee Media. And what we were doing was we were making webisodes, and we were taking musicians to score the webisode. And we were doing it with Wu-Tang Clan. Except in my book, Gods and Gangsters, I tell you what happened to that company. Because Stan Lee got in bed with the thought that Bill Clinton would do a webisode. Bill Clinton got Stan Lee to give Hillary Clinton money in the year 2000 to run for Senate. And that was it. But that story I'll leave for another time. But The Colonization of Earth, The Making of Mankind, if anyone buys that book and you don't like it, I'll buy it back from you.
Love it. And I actually put your website. It will be on the Mentor Studio when we launch the site. But also, I just put it in the chat box, your website, so they can go get the book.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
StevenMachat.com.
Yep, got it. No, I already posted it in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. The other thing, too, is, so you just brought that up that you're going to be speaking at Comic-Con, and I know a lot of people listen to this, go to Comic-Con. What are you going to be talking? I know you're going to be talking about what you do with Stan Lee, but what in particular, or what is your premise to be there? What is your outcome?
They asked me to join them so I could go through the book. This book tells you where those characters came from.
Oh, got it.
The scriptures are there for any and all of us to read. I mean, if you look up the word Anunnaki, Anunnaki, There's thousands of articles. It's not Steven Machat being crazy. It's Steven Machat being the astrologer to connect the dots of human life. ANU stands for the king, Anu. All right? KI means that these were the space travelers, the Anakis, the space travelers that came to Earth from planet Nibiru, Nibiru. When I was a boy, I couldn't get out of Superman. I'm like, what is this story? Where did this story come from? And then I learned that the people that created these stories, they knew about the Anakis. I mean, the Vatican did everything they could to stop you from knowing what I'm telling you. And without going into it, I give you all the answers. I give you the conspiracy. I give you the matrix. And if I do nothing else on earth, if I'm able to open up people's minds to we're here to love each other, support each other, work together and build a community of mankind called heaven here on earth. And we allow other people to say, no, your job's here to work for us, serve us. And as you're working for us and serving us, next time you get to go to heaven and sit with God, are you kidding me? And we believe this shit needs to stop. It really needs to stop.
I was going to almost say a public disclaimer, but this is good, right? You know, and again, the great thing about really podcasting and what we do as entrepreneurs is we are trying to make a difference. And we don't always agree with them, and they don't always agree with us. And if there's people listening right now and somehow there's things you're agreeing with Steve and you don't, great, because that's called conversation. So one thing as a human that it's gotten lost in some of the governmental organizations. It's just the way it is. Let's get back to talking to each other. You have an idea. I have an idea. Yep.
Michael,
Yep.
we need to poke each other, provoke each other,
yep.
and elevate all of us.
Right.
If you have a thought, share your thought. Because I can't see everything. You know, with my eyes, maybe I can see 240 degrees. I'm missing 1/3 of what's around me. I can't see what's behind me. But the lovely person I'm sitting here with right now, she can sure see behind me. She can tell me what's going on through this window. You need to share.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to see 360 degrees is you share. And you need to understand this 360 degrees. If you and I are sitting at 1 o'clock on the sundial, our backs to part of the world, you need to know what's going on.
Right. Right. And, I hear we're going to wrap it just a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions, you could raise your hand. You can let me know. You can type it in. And then again, we'll be done. Somebody just commented exactly. This is great. And because I did a tour. I did a tour of the White House and the Senate, I think a year and a half ago. And there was a wonderful, who won't be named, ex-congressman touring us around. And he said, the one thing I will always say, because he was a congressman in the 80s and 90s, he's like, even if we didn't agree with each other, even if we didn't, we talked, we had lunch together, we spent time together, and we were a community. And then we agreed to disagree and then figure out what we need to do. And in his eyes and in his world, that's all gone. Yeah, and he told me about the people that would have lunch together every day. I mean, and I'm like, that sure doesn't happen in the last 15 years. So it's that we have to come together as a community. And I think that's the really big thing about an entrepreneur. And I think as entrepreneurs, we can create that. We can create that flow and that movement and really move forward. You're getting amens from the board. You're getting, they're listening to you. They're having trouble with the agenda that's going on right now and really dealing with it in their own lives. And so, Jeff, thank you for that. And I think that's a big piece. Steven, any last thoughts before we let you go? Because you've been amazing, and I'll let everybody else go right after.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm asking you all to please feel this energy. Don't let our government panic you. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. They just suspended right now all the NBA games. Something's going on that's bigger, Michael, than anything you and I have ever done.
Mm-hmm.
They're scaring you. They're scaring us into a pandemic. There's something not right. And what we need to do is we need to take hold of our bodies and understand something's not right here. And just be healthy, be with the ones you love, and don't let fear enter your body, because fear will eat your body. Just believe in but believe in the Creator. Don't let what's going on destroy you, because it will end. And it needs to end in peace with love, not disharmony and governmental control with military behind.
Right.
Michael, I can't believe they just suspended the NBA game.
I don't even know what to say. Everybody, again, do what Steve just said. Live in love, live and take care of yourself.
And just take care of yourself.
Yeah, it will all be okay. So, no, I know. All right, they're saying I love it. We're getting comments on the board. So, Steve, thank you so much for tonight. This was just amazing. I have posted Steve's website on there. It's Steven, StevenEmachat.com. It's posted in there. When the Mentor Studio site goes live, it will be in there too. We'll also put it in the Facebook. If anybody has any thoughts or questions for Steve that come up the next day or two, post it in Facebook. I'll get it to him, and I'll make sure that they're answered.
Please, let me know if I touched you, because by doing that, you touched me, and we could become more than we were. I'm not going to stop. I ran for the U.S. Senate. They wouldn't let me on the debates. I ran for Congress. I'm not part of their system. I don't believe in this matrix we live in. There's something really wrong, people. Yeah. Just remember one thing. You're bigger than what they're telling you. All right? Don't panic.
Somebody just ordered your book already. So, Jeff, fantastic. They just ordered. Done. I love it.
By the way, if you have any questions, run them through Michael's system here, and I would be honored to answer whatever you want.
There you go. You guys heard it. So Facebook, just post the questions on Facebook. I'll get them to Steve. It's not a problem. He is here for us. He's one of the mentors of the Mentor Studio, and we're really here for all of you. So,
hey, Michael,
yes.
Let me give you a laugh.
Go ahead.
When the United States banned cigarettes from all the airplanes,
yes,
they did it if it was a 6-hour flight or under, right?
Yeah, I remember.
There was only one flight that was more than 6 hours in the U.S. Do you know what it was?
No, I don't.
Miami to Seattle. You and I right now are the longest distance in the United States.
Yes, we are.
And here we are. We're communicating as if we're next to each other.
Oh,
Michael,
I love
you. I welcome and I support everything you're doing. You're helping people become aware. You're a ray of energy. And the coronavirus, you know what corona means? It's the energy of the sun. It's a crown. It's the crown energy. We're all energy. Yeah, anyway, I send everyone listening my love and support, and just keep your feet on the ground. Don't panic.
Yeah, keep your feet. Thank you, Steve. You've been amazing. Thank you, everyone. You're welcome. Thank you all for being on the call. Everybody hold on when I turn off the podcast. Steve from the Vertical Live from the Mentor Studio.
I'll speak to you when I speak to you.
Yeah, you got it. I'll be texting you tomorrow.
Take care.
All right, Steve. Goodbye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being on. Hold on a minute. We'll officially end the podcast, and I got a couple little announcements. Wanted to thank you all for being on from the Mentor Studio, for myself, from our team, from my wife, from everybody who makes this happen. Thank you so much, all. This is Michael Silvers again with the Mentor Studio. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening. By the way, wonderful Vertical Life people, a couple things. Number one, when we do migrate over to the new site, I don't need it yet. Do not start sending it. We're going to need your name, phone number, and email so we can make sure everybody gets migrated and you'll be populated to there. Number two, just to let everybody know, we have a lot of amazing calls coming up. So we'll be sending, not the schedule out, but we'll have them linked. And then on the new site, there'll be actually an event schedule, and we'll have all that ready for you already. Number three, we just brought on some fairly big people from Hollywood coming on, so they'll be doing calls for us. And it's not so much because they're from Hollywood, it's their business people. And these are some business ends. You'll know the shows they did and all of that, but these are really the business people, and they're all entrepreneurs. And, really how that moves. And we also have some pretty big podcasters also coming on, and influencers, and on and on and on. So buy Steve's book, go to that site. He's just brilliant. He doesn't even know that I'm going to be in Miami this weekend, so I'm going to text him and say, come meet me, and he will. I guess we won't be going to a basketball game because that's normally what we would have done. We went to a baseball game last time, but yes, his Yankees destroyed the Mariners, so what are you going to do? I think that's it for tonight. If there's any questions, let me know at any time. We are looking for big migration again as we move. Yeah, we know how effective that is. So I wash my hands a lot. I got this, all right? Remember, I was a nurse. I got this. My mind is like I have too much to accomplish in life to get sick at this point. So we just get it done and keep moving forward. Everybody have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening. Let's let it go with a word. I'm going to open it up. If you got to keep your lines quiet, go ahead. I've got too many panels open here, so let me get the right one. There we go. I'm going to unmute, come up with a word, and then let's let this thing go. What word should we let it go with?
Let's see, Corona.
Let's not do that. Right. Let's not focus on it. Let's go away from that word. I like that. That's good. Lots of vitamin C from Stacy. I love it. How about love? Steve will let us go with love. Why don't we do love? How's that sound?
Let's do that.
All right. Fantastic. I love love. Love is good. All right. On 3, we're going to send it out with love. The next call is April 1st. I know it's not great, April 1st, and that's the funniest. 2 calls in April, and then actually probably 4 calls in May. We're going to really ramp it up. So we're going to go from there. All right, here we go. Love on 3. 1, 2, 3. Love. All right, everybody, have a great night.
We're honored that you invested time with us today at the Mentor Studio. Now, don't be greedy. Share this knowledge bomb with all your dope peeps on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Actually, we'll even pay you to do it. To get the deets, please check out thementorstudio.com.